But another win the Supreme Court gave Trump today was they also issued a pause on another low-level district court ruling saying that the Trump administration had to personally return one specific person from this El Salvador prison. Take a listen.
We know there was a mistake made in this case. Now, that was said in a court filing that this guy had not supposed to be sent to El Salvador, where he's from, and he was.
Exactly. And the administration, the government has said, look, we should not have sent him. He was sent. And now the question is what to do. I mean, you can't force the U.S. to force El Salvador to bring him back. And remember, he's not a U.S. citizen. He was just granted temporary legal status. And so it's going to be a Supreme Court decision.
So this judge had said, to your point, that is a good point, that you can't force them, so you have to try, essentially. That's what they said. They said, well, you got to try to facilitate the return. In other words, it's almost like forced diplomacy, right? Does that kind of stuff usually come out of the courts? Forced diplomacy?
Look, that's a great point, Connell. The executive branch has great authority. You can't force them to do something that really the law doesn't permit. You just got some judges, some lower court judges that say, look, I know better how to run the immigration system than you do.
Now, the situation probably will get resolved. It was somebody who accidentally got sent to the El Salvadorian prison who wasn't supposed to go to the prison, but actually was an illegal from El Salvador. Now, my compassion for these people is pretty close to zero, but I will say we should at least get him out of CCOT because that prison is definitely for people who commit the most vile crimes. He's already in El Salvador, just let him free. But it's not that the problem wasn't going to get resolved. It was how this judge ruled on it. They basically tried to scold Donald Trump like they were his parent and say, you have to get this person out, and it has to be in this time frame, and it has to be done now, and I want to have updates. And the Trump administration was like, hey, we can't just force El Salvador to do something. So the Supreme Court pause just basically puts a chill on this judge acting as if they're Donald Trump's parent and basically says you don't have the legal power to tell the president to engage in foreign policy discussions based on what you'd like him to do, which again is another important ruling. These judges keep issuing injunctions and TROs, and the stupid Trump deranged Democrat will say, well, he shouldn't break so many laws then, and they wouldn't have to issue all these rulings. But at what point, after so many rulings by the Supreme Court eventually deeming all of these things to be unconstitutional, will the left admit that these judges are just overstepping, are unlawfully interfering? They probably won't because, Orange Man bad, and they'll sell their soul to die on that hill.